Improvement Services Committee special meeting to order. Let it be recorded that Johnson, Nicholson, Wery, Burnett are present. Approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Wery, second by Johnson. Under discussion here, none, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays, motion carried. Approve of the minutes. I don't know if we have minutes.
There are none.
None.
Okay.
Okay, we'll just skip that. Regular order of business. Number one, consideration of possible action on the Department of Public Works Capital Improvement Program for 2019 held over from February 27th, Improvement Service Committee. Okay, I believe everybody was here, weren't they? Except for Jesse. And one of the reasons we held it over is that there was a couple issues that we wanted to address. And actually, our director, Steve Grenier, stated that it's got to go to finance. So I mentioned that maybe we should have a special meeting to address, I believe, two issues, correct? One issue was in District 3, Main and Mason, basically on Main Street, well, Mason and Mason, the corner to about Shane, roughly in that area. And then the second issue that I believe we're going to address is Mr. Wery's concerned with, and help me out.
Trying to add an additional street to the project list.
That's it. So, Steve, I guess, let's address the Main Street issue. We asked, actually, one of the issues, I know I asked you if you could talk to Matt Heckenliable, see if he talked to the developer of that area for Easttown Mall area.
We have not had any conversations with the developer. We are trying to reach out to a consultant to get a consultant engaged on board to start taking a look at that basin to provide some recommendations to us.
Okay. Were you able to make contact? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
No,
Did
not
you
the
try?
developer.
Have you tried?
Matt, we don't even have a contact for that developer. I need to get in touch with Economic Development for that.
Okay, did we try it?
No, we have not.
Oh, we haven't, okay. I guess, when will Matt, do you know when Matt might make a phone call or email to him?
It would be premature to talk to the developer if we do not have a solution to talk to the developer about.
Okay, we need a solution first.
Correct. We need to
Okay.
have a plan to propose to the developer.
Okay,
So we are working to try to get a consultant hired to do the analysis on the basin and propose a solution.
okay, Chris?
Would we first want to talk to the developer, say, here's kind of what we're thinking before we spend money on someone to do the plans? I mean, if they say, no, we have no interest in, you're not going to touch our parking lot, then we wouldn't want to spend money on designs, right? Might be worth
We have-
an initial call.
We haven't concentrated on a solution yet. There are multiple options available. We need to take a look at what those options are and which ones might be cost effective to put in. It's not just doing something in the parking lot.
But it would take it off the table. We wouldn't have to work on it if they just put a stop sign on and say, no, we don't want the city coming into our parking lot and building anything. We know right off the bat, like, all right, hey, here's how we can work together. I think it's worth a call to say, hey, we're kind of looking at something like the Backers did, a little underground retaining facility to help the water draining down the hill. I think that it's just an easy call to do. You don't have to have a solution on paper. Just as a thought. And if they're open to it, then great. Hopefully we can do that because it sounds like a workable thing. But if they're up in arms about us even touching the property, you don't spend money on it. Although we don't know how.
Any response, Steve, to Chris's,
I'll be more than happy to do that.
okay. So is that the first step then?
If
To-
that's what you're asking us to do, then that would be the.
Well, I mean, is that, we're just looking for help. Is that what we do first?
Normally, no, that's not what I would do. Normally, what I would do is engage a consultant to take a look at the report that we prepared and start taking a look at options, what might be feasible, what might not be feasible.
Oh, okay. I guess I'm Mr. Johnson.
What kind of fees are you looking at for a consultant? Do you have a general idea of what a project like this might run? And how would you fund that?
$25,000 to be funded out of the stormwater utility.
Okay. And I mean, a possible solution could potentially not involve that property, right?
Correct.
Okay. So in which case, I mean, contacting the property owner, I understand what Alder Weary's getting at, but if the solution is outside of that property, it would be a moot point anyway. So if we need a solution, I mean, it's,
If you want us to reach out to the property owner to give it a yay or nay right up front, we can do that. It's not a problem.
okay.
Well, I guess like if we could do both. Is that okay, Steve?
Well, we've already started one part of it. This would just
Okay.
mean
I guess just a phone call then, or a text, or some type of, if you could do that. I
Well,
guess that's what we
if
asked.
we're gonna make that first formal contact, it's going to be a formal contact. We're gonna have it in writing, so
Oh,
we have
okay.
something to work off of.
Okay. Well, you know best on that. Okay. So what I'd like to do, Steve, to keep this, I don't want this area lost. I want it to keep going. I want it on the radar. I want it in your office. I don't want to lose control of trying to improve this area. Is the best way to keep this going is to give you a dollar amount? And I'm just brainstorming. Would that keep this area, this Main Street, it's not a project yet, but it's a concern, so I'll just call it a Main Street concern. If we give you a dollar amount in this capital improvement program, can you at least keep it going? I mean, so it's not lost anywhere?
I guess I'm not following where the tie back to the capital program is.
Well, I guess my concern is, I want this project, or this area of concern that I have, I want it on the table. I want it taken care of. And if we give you a dollar amount, I guess I'm asking for help here, Steve. I'm not an engineer. All I'm looking at is this area to be basically improved.
Well, and we understand that, and that's, we're moving
So
forward with
what's
it,
the
but
best way? I mean,
the capital program is for projects. If we don't have a project, it's really not applicable to
Okay.
have something in the program.
can I call it a project then? What's the best way to handle this?
Well, are you looking for something to be done this year?
Definitely. But I can wait another year.
Okay, because.
Would that be the best way to handle it?
I would say yes.
Okay?
Preliminary indications we're receiving back from the consultant is we're looking at, after we get a contract negotiated with the consultant, first we got to define the scope of services and what they're going to do. Then we negotiate the contract, execute the contract. Preliminary indications, they're looking at 3 months worth of analysis, 9 months worth of design. We're a year out from having any solution. That's
Okay.
what they're telling us.
So what's the best way to handle this?
You've given us direction to make this an area of focus, which we are doing. And at this time next year, when we're proposing our capital program for 2020, we would be potentially looking at a project at that time.
Okay. Can we at least have a title of this project on the capital improvements for next year with no dollar amount? I don't want it lost. Steve, my concern is, years ago, I put something through and it got lost, and it was for that area. And I'm doing it again. I don't want it to disappear again. I want it on your table.
I understand this is an annual program that describes the projects we're going to be doing for 2019. If we don't have a 2019 project, if that's a 2020 project, it would be more applicable in next year's program,
Okay.
not this year's.
Can we have something in writing on the program that says the Main Street area project will be address in
that we-
2020?
That we will be considering solutions for the Main Street corridor in the 2020 program?
Correct.
Absolutely, that'll be in the minutes.
Okay, can I have it somewhere, like an asterisk or something on this report?
Again, I guess if you want us to put something in, we've never done anything like that before because that's not what this document is for.
I know, but I never had something get lost between, yeah, something that just never appeared. I mean, I don't know. Alderman Johnson.
See, we talked about this at the last meeting, I think, about the long-term capital improvement plan that the various department heads are working on. Are you looking at like a 5-year plan?
Yes.
Okay. When we talk about, I guess, some of the needs on our 5-year plan or even beyond, one of the things you came back with was the report on, I believe it was 9 basins that had chronic flooding issues, and,
Yes.
and of course, the immense dollar figure that comes with that. When you start talking about the need to engage in a consultant on this project, is there, I guess, when you think about that 5-year plan, what are your thoughts in terms of how we might address that larger issue?
With respect to getting consultants on board to help with some of those design
Yeah,
projects?
and that's the piece where, again, I'm unfamiliar, right? So
Yes.
if we're going to bring a consultant on here, does it make sense to have a consultant engaged on all 9, or? I'm just
Ultimately, yes, we will, but for cost control and cost management, for being able to track where we're spending our money, we execute individual contracts for each of the different basins, for each of the different solutions. We don't just hire a consultant to design all of our stormwater management ponds. If we have a project, then we'll go out and we'll engage a consultant for that project. Number of reasons for that, depending on what the consultant is doing, there are some who are better at certain tasks. In this case, Brown and Caldwell, who did the plan, very good at the modeling. They have all of that data in their database, so it makes a whole lot of sense to engage them on the selection of options and things of that nature. Some of it has to do with workloads. Obviously, these consultants, we are not their only client, and depending on what their workload is, some folks can get to things faster than others, so we may have to shuffle that. So again, with each of the different basins, as we start doing implementation there, we will engage consultants to do those analyses and designs.
So under normal circumstances, I mean, I assume your department would prioritize which of those are maybe the most chronic issues, and from there to determine which one you would hire a consultant for first?
Well, there is analysis that we put into that. There are a number of factors that go into it. It's not just if this is a chronic location. We do take a look at what the impacts of those flooding events are. We also try to marry that up as much as possible to have synergies with other effects. So if we get that, if it's a project that increasing the storm sewer and adding inlets to get water off of the road is part of that solution, we will try to marry that up to a road that's in bad shape that also has water main that needs to be addressed and potentially sanitary sewer. So we're maximizing the impact of digging into the street. Get as much done as we can for the lowest dollar value. Get in there, take care of the issue, and get back out. So there's a variety of things that go into those selections.
So will your department or your team be evaluating those areas as part of that 5-year plan and making a recommendation
Yes.
on which ones we could act on?
Absolutely.
Okay. So this consulting fee you said comes out of the wastewater,
Comes out of the stormwater.
or I'm sorry, stormwater? Okay. And do you have so much allocated within that budget to hire
Yeah,
consultants?
I can't tell you what that number is offhand, but we do have a line item in there for consultant services.
Okay, so the consulting service isn't necessarily something we would have to include in a bonding request? You have
Absolutely not.
cash on hand to handle that?
We would,
Okay. That's all I've got right now.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you, Alderman Johnson. Alderman Burnett?
See, Steve, there are obviously some projects that didn't make the cut. that could have been on the bubble, you're probably considering, do they go in this year? Maybe this one is other more important or more pressing. Do you have the list of projects that could have been added in here, but perhaps just didn't have the resources to do it? So I think that could be a solution to Alderman Nicholson's problem, that if you put a little addendum on this capital improvement program saying for 2020, these are the projects that are top priority, and surely you could pick like 5 of the most pressing projects, Hillcrest and Haven in my district, I would imagine make the cut, considering we were going to do a full reconstruct just a year ago. Would that be a solution?
Again, if you want to modify the document from what it historically has been,
Yeah.
that's a solution. It's not something we were prepared for because it's not, that's not what this document is. It's not what it historically has been for. This is the 2019 program.
So Hillcrest, for example, Haven, that will be done in 2020. Will that be on the next capital improvement plan? One of
I
Like
don't know
I
if
said,
it's
like
in
you said, I'd have to
plans.
check in which year it is. It's either 20 or 21. I don't remember which one it is. I don't have those documents with me.
Okay, so we were going to have it part of 2018, but obviously citizens in that community or that street opposed it. We held it. Formal motion was to hold for a year. And I understand perhaps that wouldn't be on this one, but a motion to hold for a year, I would think, under no circumstances would we not include it on the 2020 if we were going to do it in 2018. Was that a fair statement? I mean, what is the reason why that would not be included on the 2020 project list?
Because of past practice.
Right, but wheel tax resets the game, I think, resets the game plan that.
I don't know that it does. In the past, if residents have requested that their street not be included in the program, they have gone to the end of the line.
Right. Motion, though, to hold the project for a year, in my opinion, at least the opinion of the council, was that we would just simply reintroduce the project as is. I can't read the mind of every council member there, but I remember the discussion, that was sort of the impression that I got. That was what I argued, that we'll just put it in a year from now, which would ideally be this year. I understand your rationale why it would be delayed. I'm not happy with it, but I at least can justify that to my constituents. But I don't want it to appear that they're being pushed down the list simply because they were opposed to paying $13,000, $42,000. That's not your fault. It's just the way it works with special assessments. But we could surely add that, an addendum on this capital improvement plan saying these are the 5 projects that we were really wanting to include on this, we just didn't have the resources. Then when you do the 2020 plan, those are the 5 that are top priority. Is
I
that
don't-
reasonable?
I don't know that we've selected the top 5 projects for 2020 just yet.
What are the 5 top projects that could have been included in this that were omitted?
Again, offhand, I don't know.
Okay, would Hillcrest and Haven be on that list, or Alderman Nicholson's property that you mentioned?
Why doesn't he go?
I don't have that list. I don't know the answer to the question.
Okay, who has the answers though?
We would have to go back upstairs and take a look through our files.
Do you need minutes?
I can make a motion to adjourn and schedule a special meeting in a couple of days, and so you have time to get those answers. Not trying to be obstinate here, I just, we represent constituents who have some pretty serious issues up and down our community and our streets, and we're doing our best to do what we're elected to do. And I know it's uncomfortable, kind of confronting Public Works, but we need answers. If you don't have the answers, then we can adjourn until we can reconvene a special meeting. I think that might be appropriate.
It's your meeting.
So you're saying that you won't commit to adding an addendum to the capital improvement plan of 5 or 10 projects that would be top priority going into next year?
I'm saying I don't have that list of 5 projects right now.
Okay. I'll yield the floor for other council members.
All right, thank you. Alderman Weary?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. when we were debating the wheel tax, you know, I said over and over, I had to do two things. One, get rid of the assessments, and two, do more roads. And I stipulated when I voted yes on it, had to do those two things. Well, we have no assessments, so you can check that off. I don't think we are increasing the number of roads, either percentage or just the number of roads that we're doing, which is why when we saw the $496,510 going towards, you know, program expansion, reduction, and borrowing, we asked, could we put that towards the next road, whatever that would be, you know? If you have a list of all the roads and they all have a grading and you kind of picked the bottom ones to do, we simply said, you know, what are the next couple that might fit within this dollar value that we could add, that don't need the sewer work, you know, just might need a resurfacing. That's why we held this up, to get that list. It seems like it's something you should have handy, and if it doesn't, I don't know why, and that's a management issue. Is there, what would be the next road that we could add? I mean, we did hold that item for this year, and I honestly, and I apologize, forgot about it until you brought it up, that was held. We didn't simply deny it, we held it. Which would mean at some point it comes back, and we held it for a year, so it should be back probably right about now. If we need to wait a couple days or a week, whatever it is, to get this list and find out what it would take to do the project, I would think especially for that project, we have the plans mostly done. And if we need to farm it out, great. If we need to pump a few more hours out of our engineers, well, you know, or get Schneider, when there's work to get done, you get it done. And as I mentioned at the meeting last week, Alderman Burnett, we put this wheel tax in. People are okay with it if they can see some real things being done, and they understand there's no assessments, but boy, they really expect more roads to get done, man. Reasons are just excuses to them, and I said that last week. Any reason you put out there's an excuse. We need to get it done. And I was hoping we'd have options tonight, whatever they are, and a dollar figure attached. It's been 8 days since we met. I would have hoped we could have threw something together, spitball it at least, but it seems like there's a concerted effort not to give us options to do. So that's disconcerting.
Well, what do you,
We
okay,
can't do
well,
much if we don't have a
Steve,
list.
what I would like to see with at least the Main Street project, I'll call it Main Street project, you know what I mean? The, what do you call it, the Main and Mason?
I know exactly what you're asking for.
I would like to have something on paper, so it'll be on the capital improvement project for next year.
I understand.
Is that okay?
I understand.
Okay. So to have that accomplished, does it need a dollar amount or not?
I don't think it does.
Okay, I'm asking your opinion. So I guess that's my motion on that issue only, that we have something in writing that it will be on the capital improvement program of 2020. I need a second if we want to discuss it.
I'll second it.
Okay, second by, we're under discussion, Johnson.
Steve, what is the timing of the 5-year capital plan? Is that like in a month or?
I'm hoping, yes.
Okay. And the reason I bring that up is maybe instead of waiting until 2020, maybe inclusion into that 5-year plan, you know, so that when he brings it out in a month from now, it's listed on that plan.
Oh, well, that's,
Yeah.
okay, well, that's what I was, well, I need help. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't do this every day. I sell hardware. You ask me anything about hardware, I've been doing it basically when I was 12 years old. So I know hardware. I'm sorry, I'm not an engineer. I need help. I need this not to go away. So is it what Mr. Johnson's referring, is that proper?
If that meets with your approval,
Yeah.
if we list a potential project for the Main Street corridor as part of the 2020 program year in the 5-year plan, then it's in the document. If that's fine with you, yeah, that's easily accomplished.
Okay, I guess so let's say it's in the 5-year plan. Tell me what takes place.
Then when that year comes up, then we take the 5-year, the projects that are part of the 5-year plan for 2020, when we start programming the 2020, those become this document.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to get at.
Yep,
Okay, can we have that done?
Yeah, that's not
Okay.
an issue.
Thank you. So, do I have to amend that, Steve?
Not at all.
No? Okay. Any other questions?
On
Je-
your
oh,
agenda, on your
oh.
motion, no, I don't. It would be another discussion. Just
We are under discussion.
Okay.
So you, Mr. Johnson, are you, okay, Burnett, you got the floor.
As the others were talking, Steve, I just had a thought. You said past practice when a street was denied by citizen decision vote or whatever it is, that it then could be put down at the bottom of the list. But this was an exception. This was not denied. They didn't turn it down. The motion was to hold. So this Hillcrest Haven, that would be a little different than past practices. Want it to be?
Correct. We will have to go back. I believe that action happened in May, April or May, at the
Yeah.
public hearing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
It
when,
was the first meeting or the second meeting of our new council, so that would be
so that's when it's coming back to this committee,
right.
which we anticipated to be beyond when this capital program would be approved, which is why we were looking at either 2020 or 2021.
Okay. Okay, and then one of the major issues there, and this is no surprise to you, the flooding that occurs in spring due to the ditch there. I know that water was going to be taken care of with this project that was delayed for, given reasons, but is there anything that can be done to alleviate some of that? Constituents up and down that road told me just dig out the ditch. I know we had discussions, but would that be?
Alderman Burnett, can I interrupt? Can we at least take care of the Main Street first and move it to the
Yes.
Hillcrest?
No problem.
That's what I
Yeah,
thought you were
that's right.
trying to pull
Yeah,
that
I-
all together. I just want to keep us focused on one.
Fair enough.
I'm just a little
Yeah.
anal on that, that's
problem.
all. So is there any more questions on Alderman Johnson?
I presume, Steve, for this to come out under the 2020 plan or within the 5-year plan, if you're gonna say, hey, we need 500,000, a million, 5 million, whatever that magic number is, the first step in that whole process is the consultant. And again, I just want to verify, do you need authorization for those consulting fees, or do you have that ability to hire that consultant?
As long as the consultant fees come less than $25,000, I do not need any authorization.
Okay, so,
Last year in December, the Finance Committee made a recommendation, which the council approved, authorizing department heads to make expenditures up to $25,000. So if the consultant fees come in higher than that, we will roster it as a agenda item, asking for your permission to spend that money out of the stormwater utility.
okay, and so with respect then to the motion on the table, this will place this project, within that 5-year plan, but you are still going to proceed with retaining a consultant to start that initial work?
Correct.
Okay, and that's just the piece that I wanted to verify. Thank you.
Anything else, Alderman Johnson? Anybody else? Steve, what is, just specifically on the consultant, what is the time frame? How do you, can you tell me how you approach the consultant? Do you have one in mind, and how do you approach them? Is it a
Yes, we
letter?
do.
Is it, go ahead.
We do have a consultant in mind, and
Okay.
last Thursday morning, we reached out to them.
Okay,
We've already begun negotiations on trying to define the scope of services to get that consultant on board.
okay. Do you do that by email, or do you letters, or phone
I
calls?
believe a lot of this has been by phone call to start with, just to
Phone-
get it moving.
Okay, okay,
But once we get a scope defined,
correct.
then
Okay,
it becomes a written document, so that we have the scope written, captured, defined. Then we have, and that's tied into the contract for their services. That
Okay.
has to be in writing.
so what does a consultant state when you give them a phone, her or him or whoever, a phone call? They said, yes, we're interested?
Correct.
Okay, and then it gets into the scope then that you're
Right,
talking
then we
about?
start defining the scope. Once we come to concept agreement on scope, then the consultant starts sitting down and drafting a formal document
Okay.
to send to us.
Do
for
we ever
review.
see that?
No.
Okay. Can we be in the loop? Can you at least just give us a update?
We
while
anticipated,
this process is going on?
we anticipated doing that as part of that outstanding,
Okay.
that regular occurring on the stormwater issues,
Okay,
giving the updates there.
okay, and refresh my memory, how often do we do that?
I think we're going to start doing that monthly.
Okay, all right. Okay, that's all I have.
On
Well,
that- on the-
Just on this issue, I mean, and then we'll go
Yeah,
to
I'm done.
Burnett, Johnson, Worry. So, we have a motion, we have a second, we're still under discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays, motion carried. Okay. Alderman Worry or Burnett?
Weary.
Alderman Worry?
Is that seniority?
Technically, we're the same. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Steve, if we did allocate the $496,510 to an additional road project, I understand it's only been 8 days, but if you had a few little more time, could you pick out a low-hanging fruit and figure out how to do it?
If you're asking for a street that does not have any other utility work, I do not believe such a street exists in Green Bay.
So
That's
what could
been
you
our
do?
preliminary indication.
Me bad, sorry.
Could you do anything with that amount?
Could we add another street?
Any kind of road work project? Or would it be a good idea to hold that amount till next year? Just keep it in the kitty, and then next year we'll have another $500,000 to put towards maybe a bigger project? Because if we're gonna be, as we saw this year, where, I don't know if you saw that, Alderman Burnett, but the amount we're projecting this year is 1.5 million, which is less than the 2 or 2.1 million, so we're a little under this year. We're hoping it'll rebound next year, but we're not sure. So maybe as an alternative, we add it to next year's project, but I'd like to see if there's something that we could do this year. If we need a little extra money, maybe we could add some to that, but there's no other smaller resurfacing projects this year? Well, what's the next street that's scheduled for resurfacing? Or is the list up in the office somewhere?
Well, there are no streets out there that just are resurfacing. Streets that are candidate for the programs, both resurfacing and reconstruct, also need utility work done. So we do not have streets where we could just go out and resurface. Such streets, in my opinion, based off of what we've been able to research over the last 8 days, do not exist in Green Bay.
Now, it would have been nice to have that list, to say, here's all our streets, here's their grade, and here's what needs to be done. Right, you know, these streets on the top are in great shape, nothing needs to be done. These streets need this work, the ones at the bottom need total everything done. I think that's what the committee long-term wants to have, is this list that, you know, maybe changes every year due to the conditions or whatever, but that's what I think we've always looked for. And I'm just looking to get more work done, whatever it takes. What would the next project be, the next smallest project, if you have to do some other work on the street? You know, is there a little Cleveland Street somewhere or something like that that's 1 block long? That, you know,
One that doesn't have sanitary storm or water involved?
no, that might need that.
I don't know how else to say it. I don't have that answer right now.
May I?
Sure, go ahead.
I just wanted to share with you, I mean, Steve and I have been talking, Jim sent some lists over of potential streets that we
Excuse
kind
me.
of-
could you
I'm
state-
sorry, Nancy with the, I'm General Manager of Green Bay Water Utility.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to share with you my experiences with paving and not doing my infrastructure. Say, for instance, when I worked at Waukesha Water, the American Resource and Recovery Act, they gave money to cities to do streets and things. They did a concrete street on Highway 18, and we did not have money and we didn't have the time to design our water main, and they started pounding on the concrete, and we had 3 water main breaks on a 16-inch water pipe because of the equipment going over it. We also, on the festival site out here on the east side, we told the developer, please replace, there's a 10-inch water main that's going through your parking lot. And if it's an older pipe and they did not want to spend the money to relocate it, and they started digging and that pipe burst. Like 2 or 3 times we had water main breaks in over a week. So what Steve's telling you is from experience that we have working in infrastructure, that we have to work together. And we have found that if we replace a water main without working with Department of Public Works, it doubles our cost. You know, so, and if they put a new street on and then our pipe bursts within weeks, months, years.
Why would it burst?
Because of the extra pressure that's going on from the machinery that's going over that road. If they're taking parts of it off and the cover's gone, that pounding across there causes vibrations in the pipe and it can burst. I've
often
seen
does
it
that
happen. Pardon?
How often does that happen?
Fairly often, and most of the time we're working with Steve's department to replace the main. We have 3 miles of water main that we're replacing under the resurfacing.
So how do we prevent that then?
We work together and we
Okay.
do our planning, and we've got streets that we meet weekly with Steve's team, Brian, my head
Okay.
engineer, operations.
Would
manager.
one street affect your whole department if we added one more street?
Tell me, can you answer a question for me, please? If
First
that street-
answer
if
my
that-
question, please.
If you wanted, associated with that question, if you did a street and then next year, say, our water main burst and tore up that street, how would we look?
If I could,
Would
Mr.
one more
Chairman.
street affect that? Your
I-
department? I want that answer.
We can't, as far as
You mean
money,
also doing it?
we don't have the additional money right now. We have $4 million allocated for replacement mains this year, and we have, out of a $20 million budget, 2.3 goes to the city for pilot payment. We have no money that we can add in here. I had to cut an ozone generator at our treatment plant because I needed to get these mains replaced. We're working on a tight budget. I can't just put money in. We don't borrow for main replacements because we don't want to put the interest costs
Okay,
on
so
our
how do you
regular-
prevent it when Steve does 10 streets a year?
We plan ahead. They give us
Plan
streets.
ahead.
They give us streets the year before. We look at each one, and actually, Brian did that for me. Jim sent Brian a list of all the streets. We look at how many main breaks we've had, what year our main was put in, what size it is, because we have to worry about fire flows, and we decide whether we need to do a main replacement or not. So, but it's planned ahead, and then we budget
Okay,
for it.
I understand now. Thank you. Alderman Wery?
So you're saying if there were a 1 block long street or 2, something very small,
We couldn't
would it
replace the main.
automatically need water done? Do we know that? I mean, maybe it needs some
There's
water
a
done.
couple streets that Jim gave me that we don't need to do water on, but I don't know
Alright.
about storm and
There you
sanitary,
go.
which
There we
they
go.
have.
Then it wouldn't involve your department.
Right, there's a couple of them.
Okay.
Okay, there's a couple.
But you can see where.
Do you know the streets, the couple streets? I mean, so
There
at
was,
least we got an
but I don't know
answer?
what sanitary and storm is. They've got that data.
That's not a list of streets that didn't make the cut either.
Yeah, you did a random search on some streets.
We're the oversight committee, and we don't get to see the list for ever, ever.
This is
Make the motion, let's get
this is
going.
what they gave me to look at.
Who gave you that?
Jim,
That's a
Jim?
list of prospective streets, possibly, that we initially thought there was no utility work under it, but we're finding out differently as we dig into it.
and we analyzed it for the water.
Okay.
So what Nancy is kind of getting at is, if you look at some of those streets, they have cast iron mains under them. That's the water main that will not withstand the impact from constructing a new roadway, typically, because it's a brittle pipe.
I guess to move this along, Mr. Wery's looking for a list of streets that can be done with certain criterias to, I guess, to eliminate
If
the
it
water
didn't involve-
department.
Didn't involve water, obviously. I mean, we have to look ahead and try and get a little more aggressive on our streets. And I understand maybe this year's not the good year, but we can do some streets that don't involve water.
Yeah, we try to really do our planning together. We
Okay.
share our lists and things like that.
Well, it's good to know, thank you.
How about,
Thank you. Just one second. Johnson, then Burnett, unless Worry is done.
I'm fine with it.
Nancy, I just have a
Johnson and
question
Burnett.
for you. You had mentioned that you guys try to work together and that, you know, you had to forego a piece of equipment this year so that you could do more water mains. Do you have a 5-year plan where you look out at the water mains you need to replace and when you're going to replace them?
We have a 5-year CIP that we had worked on. We put a placeholder in for main replacements that we figure, and we are planning on increasing our main replacement as you guys start increasing your street replacements. So we're gearing up. We're gonna be doing another rate increase this year to get our infrastructure budgets up. And
Stop spending.
Does
We-
Public Works have that 5-year plan?
they've got our priority mains that have to get done. We've sent it over in a computer file that they can overlay with their files of the ones that we have up as priority for replacement.
Do you know over what period of time?
That's a
you-
20-year.
Okay, so your priority is a 20-year plan, but so basically you just have them in order of priority, not
We
necessarily?
have them in groups, like there's categories of high consequence breaks and high probability of breaks, you know, anything around the hospitals or the large Procter & Gamble, Georgia Pacific, those are all critical mains for us that we don't want to stop water going there. So those are ranked higher if there's an issue.
So it's a ranking now, but not necessarily, we're gonna do these in 3 years, we're gonna do these
No.
in 5 years, these
We
in
do,
10?
our plan, our capital improvement plan on our master plan gives dollar amounts. Try to replace up to 1% of your mains in a year.
So how do we connect the dots on this, right? Where it's, you've got your needs, city has their needs, there's other utilities that have needs. How do we get you guys all in alignment to say, this is what we're gonna do in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years? How does that process work? And perhaps that's a question for Director Grenier, but
I mean, we do it year by year right now. You know, they've got our mains and they overlay them with their streets and their storm and their sanitary, and we decide which collectively are the highest priority mains for us, or streets for us.
okay.
And they also use lead services a little bit too to help us get through our lead service program.
Okay, and I certainly don't speak for council or even for the balance of the committee, but I can tell you that as someone who sits on this committee, what I want to do is, I want to give you guys money. Maybe not you, you've got your own funding source, but I want to give you money so that we can fix these things. But if, you know, it's hard for us, I guess, to do that when we kind of don't know what our needs are over the next few years. And so that's why I'm curious, genuinely curious, right, about how all of you are communicating right now to figure out what those needs are over the next couple of years.
Anything?
That's fine.
Alderman Burnett?
Thank you, Chair. So if I look at this correctly, we'll have $496,000 of wheel tax revenue that is not designated to be spent this year? Is that,
We are projecting that.
okay. It's projecting $500,000 of unspent revenue. Haven was a resurface that had no water connection. Wouldn't that be a street that these funds could be used for? That was a project that was on the list last year. So if you remember, a lot of the constituents, homeowners along that way didn't want water connection. They were fine with their well water, so how much was that project?
That's not up to me.
No, I'm
Whether or
saying
not
how
that-
much was the resurfacing project on Haven, do you remember? I apologize, I don't remember the exact dollar amount.
One of the things you want to keep in mind, though, is that it's not been best practice to do a section of street like that when, say, for example, in a year or two, we're going to go through into Hillcrest and we're going to take all that construction traffic and beat the heck out of a brand new pavement.
But you could access that from Mason Street, you wouldn't necessarily need to go down
You got-
Haven.
That's not how construction works.
No.
Construction trucks move.
Okay.
You don't back up.
Yeah.
Haven Place was about $200,000 worth of pavement and another $10,000 worth of storm sewer.
So that could be done. I mean, aside from Mr. Burnett's comment that we don't want to tear up the street.
Well, I do need to check with Mr. Heckenley. We'll find out if he's got another $10,000 worth of storm.
In the budget.
Yep.
I hate to hold up a project for $10,000 shortage when we have a contingency fund.
Contingency fund doesn't do that.
Sure, I know.
Storm sewer and sanitary.
I know,
are
big
both
picture
off
though.
levy.
If you have four. if
It's
you
what,
have-
Steve?
They're
What
both
money?
off the levy.
Off the levy.
They're not part of your taxpayer funding.
Okay.
They're separately funded.
Go ahead, Jesse.
Well, the general idea is, you know, we'd hold up $200,000 project where 95%, I don't know the exact amount of the pre-engineer work's already been completed because we were gonna do it last year. Hate to hold up a project. Now, if I could, Nancy, Ms. Quirk, I don't know what you prefer.
Nancy's
Nancy, the big concern for Haven were the constituents there simply were not, I don't speak for all of them, but most of them were perfectly fine with their well water. They saw no need to connect to the water utility. Is that something you foresee a problem with? Would you be fine with, at one time was a very rural area and the people have high water quality according to them and their wells have been tested and they're fine? Would you cause an issue with?
The one concern I have is what are the wells tested for? Most property owners test for BACT. There's nitrates, there's radium, there's strontium, there's arsenic in this area, and I don't know if they test for that. I would be concerned about that. There's also fire protection.
Sure.
If we put a water main in there, then we can have hydrants and provide fire protection for them. I guess I'm concerned about the wells. I guess I'd like to get their samples to see what they have. I just want to protect them. I know DNR really wants people to be on public water systems.
Okay. I'd be interested in hearing the committee's comments on this, but if that means I have to make a motion, is that appropriate?
Make a motion.
I'll make a
I'll allow
motion,
that.
I'll make a motion to direct the Public Works Department to work towards including Haven resurfacing as part of the 2019 capital improvement plan. So I think that's sufficient.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion by Burnett to add the Haven
Haven, I think it's Haven Place.
Haven Place, is that correct, Steve? Haven Place? To the 2019 capital improvement program. Is that what he stated, Steve?
Yes.
Okay.
And-
And there's a second, do you want to add to that?
No, I just.
There's a second by Wery under discussion, Alderman Burnett.
Obviously, this would then go through the whole process of public hearing, notifying the residents, bringing up the water issue, sewer, if there's an assessment that needs to be recommunicated to them, and then giving them the right to either give their yes or no, and then we can, at that time at the public hearing, talk about the, what Mr. Burnett mentioned about the road being torn up with future development on Hillcrest, which according to Director Grenier might take a year or two. I just don't want to not use revenue that we have, that we voted on for this purpose, just for, so that was my point, is that we have a process then to continue. We did this last year, it's just a recontinuation of what we did last year.
Okay,
We're reactivating it.
are you, okay.
I'm done.
Done.
I'm okay.
Alderman Wery? You done?
I second it.
Good? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Motion carried. Alderman Wery?
I'm wondering then, thank you, Mr. Chairman, if the funds that we were putting towards the debt reduction, the $496,510, we wouldn't want to not put towards that and just hold it and take out this project and any monies left over put towards next year's project. Is there any thought towards that? You know what I mean? Just set it aside, take out this project, whatever's left, we're gonna put it towards another project. And we do have a bigger bang next year, I don't know.
Alderman Johnson?
Director Grenier, If you could, I know one of the issues that's come up in terms of our ability to accelerate the number of roads that we're doing is the lack of engineers within your department. Is this excess funding that we have for the wheel tax, is it possible to use that funding to hire an engineer to help accelerate us for next year with a potentially more substantive bonding request?
To hire a permanent engineer?
Or consultant? I mean, whatever we gotta do, I guess, to get the plans done so that when we do.
In my opinion, I don't think that wheel tax money would be appropriate for that. I think that would be a stretch to consider that to be transportation purposes. The engineering design, I honestly think that's a little bit of a stretch. We might get in trouble for that.
Okay, but we don't necessarily, but we don't necessarily have a legal ruling on that. It's not a black
That
and
is
white
correct.
thing. It's a
The
stretch.
The statute enabling this vehicle registration fee is ambiguous.
Okay, and so obviously, again, my point is that if we were to, I mean, engineering seems to be the issue that we've talked about, shortage of engineers. And, I mean, for the benefit of the rest of the committee, I guess what ultimately I'm getting at is if we can hire an engineer with this excess, then it puts us in a better position. If next year you were gonna ask for $5 million for roads, maybe now you can ask 10 because we had an engineer that could engineer the work.
Well, we could send this for legal opinion on it.
I think it's worthwhile to understand what our options are. I don't think it has to hold up anything we're
No.
doing today, but
No.
You want to make a motion?
I guess I would, how would we frame that?
We'd have to take out this money and set it aside while we're seeking a.
Let you
Yeah, I
ask
don't think we
Steve.
need a motion to seek the opinion,
Well, you
but
could say
we'd have
refer
to
to the
hold it.
legal department.
Steve, what would be the best way to handle this for your department, please?
But we won't take the money or otherwise
Again,
it's gone, right?
one thing I also want to remind you guys is that this is a guess at this point. We have no idea how accurate that $496,000 number is. As I informed you at the last meeting last week, based on current receipts through the finance department, we are actually on track to receipt about 1.3 million, not 1.5. It is my anticipation that that's going to crawl up closer to this 1.5 number, but we have no guarantee of that.
Can we throw a conservative number out?
That's what I've done.
Okay,
That's where I came up with the 1.5. but
1.5.
I would be a little hesitant of committing to any particular number. If you want to talk about give the money that's identified, the 700 and the 220, or whatever those numbers are, and then talk about whatever the balance is, I think that is a more appropriate way of dealing with it, because until we get a year in, we're simply using our best estimating. We have no idea what that's actually going to pan out to be.
So the 496, and I apologize, I don't have the number right in front of me, but we'll call it 500 for discussion's sake. That is an estimate based on what would be left over depending on your projection of wheel tax income.
Correct.
So that number could go up or down.
Correct.
And the proposal is to apply that towards debt reduction. Are we within our rights, I guess, to basically say whatever that number is, whether it's 200 or a million, that we can hold it and make a determination of how we want to use that fund once we do get that number? Or once we get an opinion from legal?
Because we do know one place where it'll be used.
Even if,
Right, right.
you know, public comments and don't
Right.
derail it.
I mean, does that, I guess I'm just looking for guidance if that makes sense, that we can hold that amount and not put it towards debt reduction.
I know exactly what you're asking, yes.
Can we do that?
I don't know. I think we're kind of in uncharted territory here. We've never had to deal with this before.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I would say let's do it, and then if there's a conflict that comes up where you find out that we can't do it, then I guess we meet and we talk about that. So I guess I would move that we hold that amount of money as restricted and not debt reduction. And then I think we'll check with legal on whether, I guess, alternative uses for that funding.
Second?
Okay, there's a motion by Johnson. Is that clear enough?
Well,
Steve,
I will tell you, all the various motions that that we've talked about tonight aren't necessarily, the only one that I can tell that's really applicable to the item that's on the agenda was the one to add Haven Place in. The other ones aren't necessarily, are you approving or disapproving this plan?
Well, the plan
We've
does.
got
Real
it.
tax is included
Borrowing
in
it,
the plan,
and
is it
we're-
not?
We're gonna
That's part
approve
of
it,
it, yeah.
Steve.
It's a line item in there.
What we can definitely do is take the $1.5 million that's shown on the page 7 of 7 as vehicle registration fees. We will have to go back, the last year's estimate was 200, 210 for Haven Place. We will refresh that estimate with this year's construction numbers, because asphalt did go up. We will add that into the program, which is going to change the total pavement number, and we will simply take the corresponding estimate off of the 496, because that's the best number we have to use right now. We'll deduct that off of the 496, and rather than program expansion, reduction, and borrowing, we will show that as a hold for 2020 and reduce the vehicle. So let's say, just for discussion purposes, let's say the 200 stays at 200. So that we will show a 296, give or take, hold for 2020. And the 1.5 million that's showing coming in from vehicle registration fees will similarly be reduced by 296. And that will increase the bond that's necessary. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay? I think all of that in discussion, you've given us the direction. I don't know necessarily that that's, and I could be wrong too. I don't know necessarily that that somehow really fits into a motion. I think what you can do is, you've given us direction on what you'd like to see. If you want
To be honest with you, I like motions.
to, okay,
To me, that solidifies, puts nails in the coffin. Direction, I've had, not with your department, Steve,
no,
but I've had
and
numerous problems with giving direction at the county level with department heads, and those individuals kind of slide. That's why with experience on the county side, I love motions.
And what I'm.
That's all.
What I'm struggling with is how we're gonna get all of these subparts captured under this item.
Under the capital improvement program,
Yeah, yeah.
we'll just do our best.
So if I could be presumptuous and presume that we're going to take action on the capital program,
We are?
okay, whatever that action is, would you like me to take, and right now we have, I think, 3 or 4 sub-items that we've discussed, to list them out as a 1, 2, 3, 4 bulleted items, so we can capture exactly those individual pieces? It's gonna make for a little bit of a wordy,
But that's okay, but it's documented.
absolutely.
It's at your office, and we all understand that, correct? I mean,
That's-
comprehend that.
That's the big concern I have right now, is how do I've got this one line item and we've got all these sub-items going on, and how do I get that in there? How do, just procedurally, how do I capture that under the line?
Are you asking me?
Well, no, I'm explaining to you, that's why I'm a little confused right now.
I think we
guess-
just change the line items and the explanations in the minutes.
Right, but I think Alderman Nicholson is telling me that what he wants to see is a motion and a second. If we take a motion and a second, we have to have an action item here. How do I get all those motions and seconds recorded on this one item? Because it's not one item anymore, it's 5.
Well, they're amendments.
Yeah.
Why would, if I could,
Burnett?
I don't know if I'm out of order, if this is valid, but.
No, you got the floor.
Well, my suggestion, if it's out of order, when we vote on the capital improvement plan, the overriding motion could be to approve the capital improvement plan to include the approved emotions
amendments. I
Amendments,
guess it'd be
yeah.
amendments,
It would be
right?
a final
And I guess
adoption.
then what I would do is I will list those individual amendments as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kind of thing.
I
Okay,
think that would be good. That would work.
okay.
Would that be for your, comprehend that also? And I think, I know we can, you can, and we're all on the same page.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think what we're looking, as we said today, we've got the amendments we were talking about, and what we're
Okay.
looking at doing is with the vehicle registration fees or wheel tax monies. There is currently a line item on that summary table that is $496,510 that's listed as program expansion / reduction in borrowing. We will deduct off the updated costs for Haven Place and relist that as hold against 2020 projects.
Subtle, but I think it's important. I'd like it just held.
Just held.
And the reason I say this, because once we get legal opinion, if legal says, yes, you can hire an engineer or consultant, we don't want to wait until 2020 to do that.
Okay?
If, I mean, depending on the committee's wishes. But- So just hold it, not necessarily say 2020.
Steve, when we hold it, it will come
Well-
back to us, correct?
Well, that's why I'm,
Boy, it's gotta come back to us. Put that in your motion.
I don't think I had it in there. Whether or not you wanted to put it towards a capital reserve fund, which,
What's the best way to handle it?
well, I think if it's a cap reserve fund, then you're kind of isolating the money so it can't be used for anything else. And if you come up with a use, then it becomes a line item on an agenda, and how are you gonna pay for that? We're gonna use the cap reserve fund from the 2019 wheel tax.
We just need to ensure that when we want to use that cap reserve fund, it's in compliance with the wheel tax legislation.
Absolutely, you have to do that
Okay,
anyway. I
so
think kinda
that's my
easier.
motion.
It's beautiful to you.
That,
So rather than a hold, we will list this as a capital reserve.
Yes.
that'd be the best way to handle it, right, Steve?
I believe so.
Okay.
Again, I'm gonna verify all this with.
Okay, thank you. Okay, motion on that from Johnson, second by Burnett. Under discussion here, none, all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes, motion carried. Okay. Oh, let's wait for Steve, he's still writing. Oh, ready?
Yeah.
Oh,
To adopt the capital improvement program with the
amendments?
Approved.
Motion by Weary to accept,
Second?
to approve the capital improvement plan of 2019 with all the amendments. Steve, that includes, could you just read all of them, please?
Okay, I think what we've got right then, that, we're gonna go back to the video.
That's fine.
What we're going to have is to include the East Mason Street Stormwater A project, or a potential project on East Mason in the 5-year capital program, to include the resurfacing of Haven Place, and to have any otherwise unallocated, any money that was previously listed under the wheel tax revenue summary as program expansion / reduction in borrowing, instead transferred to a capital reserve fund.
Anything else that, now that East Mason corridor, that's gonna be in the 2020 capital improvement program then?
We will
Also-
include it in the 5-year CIP as a potential project for 2020.
Perfect, okay. We're still under discussion. Any questions, Steve?
Not from us.
Okay. I think we're all on the same page. Any questions from the committee?
The only other quick, did you?
No? Go ahead.
Who did the second?
Yeah, who did second? Was
Second.
that Brian did?
No,
I
we
got
just
it.
didn't catch that.
I got it.
Oh. Okay. Any other questions? We're still under discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays, motion carried. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Johnson to adjourn, second by Worry. Under discussion, hearing none, all in favor? Nays, motion carried. We're adjourned.
Do you guys need that sheet of paper?